guys, so got another patio going on here today. Went ahead and started it yesterday. All I did was tear the deck out. I had a deck, but I didn't. Got the dew in the morning here now, and I'm not rich or fancy enough to have heated mirrors, or whatever some fancy thing is. I wipe mine off still. Humble beginnings, but anyways, I'm gonna kind of do like a how-to prep and stamp a patio. So aside from removing the deck, which, you know, typically that wouldn't be part of it anyway, we're gonna go through that. I got to get some fuel, and then I'll see you at the job. Alrighty, so here's the job. So if you're laying this out yourself and DIYer, you're gonna want to measure whatever size you want here. We're going 15 by 20. We're actually gonna do like a little fire pit build out, because you shouldn't put a fire pit inside of concrete unless you're using fire brick. It'll just destroy the concrete. If you don't believe me, Google roads buckling in Arizona, New Mexico, and Las Vegas, and you'll be verified. Hot weather does that, and a fire is much hotter than anything they see in the Southwest. So do your layout, get square, and then we're going to start excavating. Here I don't have much to excavate, because I'm actually going to build up. We're going to close off these crawl space vents. They're already plugged. Well, that one's open, but and they're going to punch another block out somewhere else. So yeah, excavate. If you are on grade, I would excavate at least 8 inches. That gives you 4 inches of gravel, compacted stone. You want stone, not pea gravel. Do not use pea gravel. Pea gravel is good for home slabs and your garage slab, not your driveway either. So that gives you your 8 inches, but always check your elevations in your grade. You always want to make sure that grade water will be able to get away from your concrete. That will help protect it and give it longevity. So I'm going to get started with that. I have a handy machine here. This is our machine. It gets used quite a lot. So if you don't have that, shovel works just fine, and a wheelbarrow. So I'm going to do this, rip these posts out, and I'll get back to you. All right, it's getting a little hot out here now, but once you get everything dug out, like I said, I just had to scrape the top. Now I got a few roots here from the trees. I've chopped quite a few out. In certain circumstances, you're not going to be able to get all of them, but you want to get as much organic material, that includes topsoil, out of there and down to some native soil that's undisturbed. In my area, that's clay. And then you're going to compact that soil. Don't put gravel in yet. Compact the soil, and you want to compact it with something like this. If somebody comes with a plate compactor, something that looks like a lawnmower, a push mower, something like that, fire them. Fire them on the spot, because 90% of the time, the person that's using something like that, sorry, I got dirt in my shoe, they don't know what they're doing. Those are good to compact at about 2 inches per lift. So every 2 inches of material, you have to compact. Now, I already said we're doing 4 inches of gravel. So we would need to compact the soil, because no matter what, with you driving on it and digging, you've disturbed that soil. Sorry, I still got dirt in my shoe. And then you'll need to compact twice. So if you're going to use one of those, compact in 2-inch lifts. And I double compact it. As far as I'm concerned, a vibrating compactor is just a rattle can, and it just filters things in there into all the grooves. But there's no way, no shear force. And with clay, you need shear force. So that's my area. That's what I use. If you don't want to use it, don't. but it's my best advice. I did make some changes here. You can see I got this really large root. I'm gonna go ahead and axe that one, but I do have a fair amount of organic material. Now, as this organic material decomposes, obviously it's gonna leave a void. So I'm gonna recommend this customer that we either use rebar or wire mesh, just to keep it together through the years. So that's the best option for this job. Or we completely over excavate, which, you know, that's a valid option, but it's a very expensive option, and very few of you or your customers are going to want to do that. So rebar is probably the best alternative, and that's what we'll go with. So I'm going to go ahead and get this puppy fired up, compact my soil. Minnie did a good job. So let me just go over this. If you're going to do this job yourself, just so you have a understanding of cost, and you value your time different than what I value my time at. If you don't really care about cost, or you have all the free time in the world, you might not care how long this takes. But if you were to rent this mini skid steer, it'd probably be $300 a day. You'd need to rent a trailer, probably another $300 a day. You're gonna have insurance and tax on there, so you're gonna be right around $700, maybe $800 in getting this for a day. Then you're gonna have this here. So that's where you're at. You're gonna have to rent a compactor. That's probably $200 a day, maybe $150, I don't know. And then that's where we're at right now. You'll have your stakes. Those stakes are not cheap. Those stakes are like $2 a piece. Then you'll have your forms, whether you're gonna buy lumber or use plastic forms. If you're gonna use a curve or do a curve, you're gonna need some plastic forms, so you're gonna have to cut some aluminum or some really thin plywood. So yeah. Then don't forget all the tools, your drills, your screws, your chalk line, things like that. Your fuel also. You're gonna have fuel in this puppy. It likes fuel. So that's where we're at right now. So I would say, just to get your area dug out, you're at a cool, easy $1,200, if not more. That doesn't include any disposal that you have to do. So that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this puppy up. We did break the fuel line on it last week, so I've added a fuel filter. It's the wrong size for the fuel line. It looks like it's leaking a little bit, but hopefully she holds up, so I don't have to, I don't know, just put a shorter fuel line on there. But that's where we're at right now. So I'm gonna fire it up and get to it. Alright, so I'm trying to do this while I'm one-handed dumper. If you think a plate compactor is going to do anything close to that's the difference. Alright, so once the ground is compacted, I had to get a couple loads of stone. You gotta hop in your dump truck. You gotta go to the gravel pit and get some stone. I left this open so you can see. Easy 4 inches of pipe, that a little more through the whole thing. And now you get to compact it again. Like I said, base prep is everything. You don't compact the soil, you don't compact the gravel. What goes on top doesn't matter, because it'll be cracked up in a year. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this. All right, so once you've got your gravel compacted, my suggestion is to leave the gravel low. It's easier to add than it is to shovel. But if you're shoveling anyway, then whatever. I got my elevation set. I checked mine with the laser. If you don't have any, you'll have to kind of reverse these steps, and you'll want to form up and run some strings across the top. That way you can check your heights so you know where you're at. But if you do have a laser, you know, I think lasers $800,000. These things are adding up, aren't they? Your gravel, by the way, this is 10 tons. So you'll have that right around $27 a ton. Then your hauling fees. So you'll probably have, you know, maybe another 400 plus or minus in your gravel. So anyways, you're gonna want to form it up, go off whatever you have. I'm going off the side of the house. I do not have a square with me today, so I'll have to double check, but I'll get it pretty decent. I'll 3, 4, 5 it and go from there. But you want to butt it up tight to the house if you're coming off of something, and get your stakes and your hammer. So that's it. You'll have to put fall on it, but go ahead and get it formed up. That way you know exactly where you're putting your gravel. I always compact a little past the edge. I know a lot of guys don't, but I just figured, what the heck. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'll see you once you get this done. Alrighty, so setting your forms. I had to take a couple days off from this project, do a couple others that we already had going on. But what you're gonna want to do is, if you're coming off your house for a patio, where's it at here? Get yourself a square, bigger the better, in my opinion. Come up to your house here, or whatever you're butting up to. I don't know, maybe it's your dog house, maybe it's a she shed, I don't know. And you're gonna want to get square, and it's probably not gonna line up like that because I've already messed with this for a little bit until the sun came up. But I recommend putting a screw and a string line right here, and then as long as you got this square, it doesn't matter what this is, as long as this does not touch your string line, so that you can have it right on your form. If you have a gap here, you might not think it's very bad. By the time you get however the distance you're going, that angle will grow. So I recommend you just come down here, put a stake, and I'm doing this one all by myself, so I'm trying to do it just like somebody else would. And it's harder with one person. At least this part, this is the hardest part, and probably the most important. But anyways, it's just been a while since I've done it on my own. But put a stake in the ground here where you're at, and just push it to the side. Hit it with a hammer, push it to the side until when you go down there, it's flush where you know it's square. And hopefully the rest of your form, like I said, I've already messed with this one, is not touching the string line. As long as it's not touching the string line and holding it out, and you're good where you started up there, just come down and make sure everything follows that string line, and you're good. Now, if you're using wood, it's a little easier. I like 1-bys. 2-bys you can't really maneuver as well, and everything in my area is just crooked. But on these, there's a lot more wiggle room. So if you get somewhere that's got a bow, I left this one here on purpose, you can loosen your screw. Go ahead and loosen your screw, and you'll see that it's coming out. I might have to restake this actually, but I probably will. But for the sake of just right now, and get you some shim shingles. These are wood shim shingles, cedar shim shingles. And if this gap wasn't as bad, like maybe down here, like right here on this one, I'll just loosen it, shove a shim shingle in there. That's what I'll do right now. As long as you don't take that screw all the way out. And as you see, as I push it in, that gap disappears. And then snug it back up. There you go. That is how you adjust your forms to get your string line so that you know you are square off of whatever your reference point you're coming off of. So I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna adjust these real quick, throw a few more stakes in. I have to stake these a lot more than wood, but I like them because I can make them straight, unlike wood. So then I'll show you how to 90 off of here to go over to another direction. So, all right. Okay, so I cheated here. I used our laser. Not the best with it. I really don't use it a whole lot. A lot of stuff I do is curved. So we'll just measure off with something, and you know, that's what we go with. We'll square off the house or something, but that's it. But I need more practice with this, so it was a good time to practice with it, but you're probably not going to have that. But anyways, you line it up at your reference point down on your house or whatever you're coming off of. As long as you're straight, like you just did when you measured this, measure your distance that you need to go, mark it, put that, make a mark, set your laser on there, and then go back to there and it'll be square. I gotta take this, and then over there is where we're at, and I just roughed these in and I'm pretty close, so I gotta take this though. What's up, man? All right. So once you since you're not gonna have a fancy laser like that, you have to do the same thing you did over here, which is square off of your form now, and get you a string line. And honestly, the best thing you can do is to get close and see where you're at is to pull off the house. Like I said, I cheated. Mine's already good. Or whatever you're pulling off of, and you know, measure. You know, we're at 14.9.5 or so to our string line. You want to measure your string line, not your form. So don't think that, and then come on down here to another point. I don't know. Usually I just take it and divide it into thirds or so. And I'm pulling off of something that's kind of rotted. It's not the best to pull off of, but they get you close. And this isn't an exact game, but you need to be somewhat close. So 14.9.5. So that's how you do it. And then there's your string line. We have a cut. I have a piece missing here. This can be a fire pit, so I have stuff missing. But you'd be able to take your boards and just stake them in right up to that string line, and your patio would be square. And if you want to add some flares, you know, whatever. But you have your straights, and your straights will be everywhere that you need them to be straight. So I couldn't tell you if we're square off of this garage without actually checking, but I would say that we're probably not, just by the angle of the driveway. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust these forms real quick, and yeah. All right, next part of the video. Once you get everything formed up in your square, or however you're doing, even if you're doing circle, whatever, go back to your point that you're referencing. Here I have a few different points. Got a spot over here in the driveway, I got the garage to worry about, and the house, and the fire pit. So, but just to keep it simple, reference down there, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have fall away from the house. That way water will drain. You don't want water draining towards your house. So find your point you set your elevation at, wherever you're going to pour. And normally, I think minimum code in most states is 2 inches separation between siding. You'll see guys all the time, and they'll pour right up to it. And you know, Google your heart out, you'll read it. So try not to do that. If you do, flashing. All my estimates say the flashing is additional, and I just sub out to a siding guy. Easier for me. But anyways, you're gonna want to have fall. So what you're gonna look for, now my level is filthy, but you want to have about 1/4 of a bubble. You can go down to 1/8 of a bubble. And the other thing you want to look for is if there's any gaps under here, or if you push on one end or the other of your level, if it teeter-totters, that means you'd have a hump. Now if you're doing wood, there ain't a whole lot you can do with it except float it out when the concrete comes. But 1/4 inch per foot, 1/4 of a bubble, 1/8 of a bubble, and the whole way. And then check for bellies and hills and valleys. I've already done that on these, but so yeah. And on this job, I got my 1/4 inch per foot coming off of the house. I am running just a slight bit of fall, probably 1/8 of an inch over here. And anyways, all of this is I think 2 inches below, so it's probably about still running that 1/8 inch, over about 15 feet. That's pretty close to about 2 inches. And then I'm falling this way. That way all the water doesn't flow towards the driveway. They're going to replace that driveway next year. I'm gonna use a stone face liner over here. It's gonna look really cool, like it's supposed to be there, like a step. And so all the water's gonna drain at this point. I also got the fire pit to worry about, so that's a little higher here. So the water, it's gonna come off the house, but it's gonna try and move its way this way, and then from the fire pit to this way. That way there's not a whole lot of water here, you know, soggy spot where they're gonna have a fire pit. And then all the water should flow this way with the natural contour of the ground. If you do not have grade falling away from your patio has a better chance of failing, especially if you didn't do your base material right. So you might have some grading in your future too. But that's it as far as forming. The next thing you'd want to do is just double check your elevations of your stone. Make sure you have it. That way you have whatever depth of concrete you're aiming for, 6, 8, 12, 14, shoot 3 feet, whatever you want to do. You want to wade in and go for it. But that's it. I have to put my cutoff here. This job's got some kinks in the works, so hopefully you don't have these issues, but I got a power line here. I got a super busy street, so I'm hoping the truck can at least get in the driveway. Thankfully they are replacing it, so that makes it easy. But we're gonna end up buggying it. I like if the truck could get right there and peek in his 17 feet, so I only have to buggy as little as possible. Then he can work his magic. I'd much rather rake than have to buggy. Gonna run a 3-man crew. Same guys, Timbo, Johnny, myself. Maybe we'll throw Fredo in the mix here, we'll see. He just talked to me today again. So that is it until the concrete comes. If you're gonna put wire or rebar in, now is a good time to get that. Just go ahead and grid it out however you want to do it. 4 on center, 2 on center, 3 on center, every 4 inches, whatever you want. All right, so a couple things I forgot. After you get everything in and you've checked your grade again and your gravel, whether you run string lines from this side to the other side, if you run a string line through there, take a tape measure and you can measure your grade. So that way you have your thickness of your concrete's consistent. But it's not as important with wood, but at least, so I use dirt and backfill. I can use gravel, whatever. It puts a little extra pressure on the form, so when the concrete comes in, that force doesn't kind of make a waviness to it. But if you do have wood, no matter what, you still want to fill the bottoms. You see down there, right there along the bottom, that way the concrete doesn't seep out. You want to grade you know, away from the patio or whatever you're pouring, so you don't have a bunch of hills and valleys, rocks and stuff to trip on. This job had a lot of stepping stones, so there's a lot more in rocks, so that way you're not tripping when you're bull floating or installing the concrete. Really sucked to just fall in the concrete. But that's pretty much it. Along your house or buildings or an adjoining slab, you're going to want to have some expansion foam. So I have some expansion foam over there. I got to put some styrofoam in these crawl space vents to block them off. And trying to think if that covers everything. You got your 1/4 inch per foot fall on all your forms. You're draining away from all structures. You need to make sure you have grade away from your patio. So yeah, wood shims to make all your small final adjustments on your formwork. String lines, covered the 3-4-5 method. Measure out 3 feet, measure out 4 feet along another spot. Connect those 2 dots, should get 5 feet. That's a rough way to get square. Compact your gravel. That's really it. Double check your grade. Here I use screed chairs. I like them. I love them actually. Use a company called Mako. In this bag over here, I think it's a starter kit. Usually the tool lasts about 2 bags, and then you got to rebuy it. So I just buy the starter kit. But starter kit, this one's actually bad, so I'll have to buy another one. But Mako, I think it's like 150 bucks, something like that. If you're gonna screed off of your forms, make sure your stakes are all hit below the forms. You will hate life if you don't do that, and that's your plan. Make sure there's no other screws or anything you left in the forms. This one's getting step liners, so that's about it for this one. I'll stop by tomorrow and drop off all the tools, and I'll probably leave the stamps. We're getting heavy dew right now, so I'll leave the stamps in the truck. And I think this one's scheduled for Thursday. This one's scheduled for Friday. So we got to cut the gutter. I don't know what they want to do with the gutter, but we'll have it out there. So it'll be higher and shoot this way. Whenever they get the driveway fixed, I would recommend they put it under the driveway with PVC and a T or a Y clean out. And hit this. I think this valley needs to be dug out some more. That would permit drainage, but everything looks good to go. So I'll see you guys Friday. Oh, the other thing, so we're fighting weather. We got fall. All these leaves, and the worst thing is we got a walnut tree here and it's dropping walnuts. So I have a disclaimer. Basically it says if we're pouring in the fall and the job cannot be tarped, they have the option to have us pour it or sign the damage waiver. Basically what that means is if there's a leaf that gets finished in, walnut that drops from overhead, stick, twig, whatever, you know, it's fall weather, we're not liable. And that's just something I do. Always give them the option to wait, but nobody does. So I really thought we had time, but it looks like fall is coming fast this year. So